Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Today, we are going to combine the law of supply and the law of demand to create a supply and demand graph. Pretty exciting step forward in economics. So let's get started. So we're going to start here with our what's called supply and demand schedule. All right, I'll explain what that means in a moment here. Let's label the top. We have price, we have quantity demanded, and we have quantity supplied. All right, so let's take a look. And we'll have $1, $1, $2, $3, $4, and $5. All right. And then here we have the quantity demanded and quantity supplied. Now, as we've learned in prior lessons here, and even did in our, if you can remember a while back here, almost a month ago when we were actually in the classroom, we did a simulation about donuts and whether you would buy them or sell them at different prices. So we already have established that the numbers of quantity demanded are going to decrease as the price moves up for obvious reasons. So let's pretend that here we're talking about milk. Okay. And in this hypothetical situation, let's put the quantity demanded in thousands. And for this one particular store, if they were to sell a carton of milk for $1, 10,000 people would buy. If they were to sell it for $2, 8,000 people. At $3, 6,000 people willing to buy. At $4, 4,000 people. And then at $5, only 2,000 people willing to buy. Why? Because milk has perfect competition in the sense that if this store is not selling at a certain price, you could go elsewhere, right? It's not the only place offering. So if they raise the price to $5 for milk, 2,000 people would still might think it's worth it, but many more people wouldn't. Okay, and on the flip side, obviously, if this place was offering $1 for milk, 10,000 people would be, rushing in to try to buy this cheap milk. Let's move over to quantity supplied now. This is obviously going to have the opposite effect. And we look for quantity supplied. If the market price for milk was $1, not many delis or grocery stores would be stocking up on milk because they're only going to be able to sell it for $1, and it would probably cost them even more just to buy it wholesale from whatever farm they're getting it from. So let's say only 2 stores are willing to buy at $1. Okay, and maybe this is also in thousands if we're talking about the country or the city or whatever. So 2,000 stores willing to sell the price of milk at $1. And at $2, 4 stores willing, or 4,000 stores willing. At $3, we continue upward. And our supply would look like this, right? Again, at $5 per milk carton, many stores, 10,000 stores maybe, are all ordering milk, so they can sell it at this high price and make lots of profit. Whereas if it's only selling for $1, stores are going to be like, I'm not going to buy milk to sell anymore. I'm going to sell cranberry juice or almond milk or other types of things instead that I'm going to make more of a profit on, right? Okay, so here's our supply and demand schedule. That's what this is called. At each price, how much is demanded, how much is supply. Now, we can actually graph this, all right? So let's make a graph here. Let's title it milk, okay? And I'm not going to graph the exact numbers here, but because this is obviously just an example. This is not a scientific method that I used here to figure out the exact demand and supply for milk. But if you were to do this with any good or service, what you would see is the demand curve, as we can see, as we label our axes, quantity down here and price up here, okay? As price increases, what happens to quantity demanded? It decreases. So our demand curve is going to slope downwards, which we know at this point, okay? And meanwhile, our supply curve, as you can see, as the price of the good increases, the quantity supplied also increases. Much easier one to see. And your supply curve is going to slope upward like so. All right, so what we have here are our supply and demand curves, each sloping in opposite directions. And what we've found is our first ever equilibrium price point. So with my brand new markers here that are now actually working properly, let's take the red and label our equilibrium. So There's equilibrium, the dotted line to mark our quantity and our price. And if we were to label the exact numbers on the graph here, what you would see is this. The market price for milk in this scenario would be $3, okay? Meaning that the price up here would be 3 and the quantity would be 6. There would be 6,000 sellers willing to sell, 6,000 buyers willing to buy, and $3 would be the price. If we label that in dollars here, okay? And notice how in this hypothetical situation, no one was forced to give us a particular answer. We even did this in class, if you remember, about a month ago when we did our hypothetical donut sale situation. I didn't force anyone to sell at a different price. I didn't force anyone to buy at a certain price. We just came together and figured out that the same amount of people were willing to buy and sell at some given price. We're not sure what that is until we do it, but in this case, it's $3, right? Okay, and so at $3, an equal amount of buyers and sellers are in the marketplace, and we have a happy market here operating at equilibrium. Equilibrium in real life, and I'll label this here, equilibrium. Equilibrium in real life represents the market price. So it's the price you're actually going to pay for the item, absent any government intervention. So obviously if the government came in and said, you're not allowed to sell milk for more than $2, okay, well that would change things, and we'll get into that next week. But for now, if the market stands, which in 90% of the things that you buy every day are just market prices, so you're just operating on equilibrium. All right, so equilibrium is the market price. Okay, it also has the market quantity. It's the amount that's going to be offered at that price as well. So it tells you two things: the price of the good and the quantity demanded and quantity supplied at that price point. Okay. So again, really exciting lesson today. We finally brought supply and demand together to make our first equilibrium in class. Obviously, when you think about economics, a lot of people picture supply and demand in a graph just like this. So now we know how to do it. Pretty soon we will actually learn how to shift supply and shift demand on a graph like this and figure out how prices change and why prices change. Have a great day.